for us. So, Nick, I know that there's been a lot of testimony, a lot of ground to cover today, but walk us through battling over whether the jury will hear this evidence related to Alex Murdaugh's alleged financial crimes. No conviction there yet, but the testimony still has been very compelling.
Yes, good evening, Judy and Dondi. So this all came to a head yesterday when presiding Judge Clifton Newman overruled the defense's objection and allowed the state to question a witness, a Murdaugh family friend, about those alleged financial crimes. Now it's up to the prosecution and the defense to come to an agreement here, or else, as Judge Newman said earlier today, he is going to intervene. Without the jury present, Jeannie Seckinger, the CFO of Alex's former law firm PMPED, did not mince words in her testimony, saying that Alex stole and misappropriated millions of dollars in funds.
So the rest of that money went to the client, didn't it?
It did not. It actually went to the fake forge account where Alex stole the money from the client.
Every last bit of it?
Every bit, the $152,866.
That client didn't get one dime until y'all had to make it right.
That's right.
And that's similar to the rest of the examples we have.
It's exactly like the rest.
Been going on for years.
Yes.
Prosecution alleges Alex murdered his wife and son to distract attention from these schemes and buy time. The day of the murders, he was confronted about $792,000 in missing funds. 3 days after the killings, a hearing in the 2019 boat crash case involving Alex's son Paul would have exposed his financial misdeeds, the state argues. That hearing was canceled, and Alex's firm dropped the issue of the missing money temporarily.
Alex was distraught and upset and not in the office much, and nobody wanted to harass him about nothing that we thought was really missing. We had several months till the end of the year to clear it up, so we were not going to harass him at that point in time.
The defense arguing that this testimony is not relevant to the facts of this case and could cause unnecessary delay in the trial.
As he just described, all the financial misdeeds or crimes that he wants to prove up, we're going to be here until end of February, I suspect, or March, because that's adding 2 weeks to this trial.
Judge Newman seeming to be receptive to the idea of allowing at least some of this financial crimes evidence to be admitted. And we're actually seeing that play out right now with one of the witnesses that's testifying. Greg Adaline is standing by. Greg, please outline for us more how this could impact the trial moving forward, as it could really prolong this several more weeks.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. We are hearing from a lot of potential witnesses. Again, the jury not in the courtroom right now. They've been dismissed until 11 o'clock tomorrow as the court weighs whether or not these potential witnesses will ever testify. Michael Gunn, who is somebody who's at least in the orbit of some of these financial crimes. He's not accused in any way, shape, or form, but at least he could give the court some insight on what was happening and perhaps the scheme that Alex Murdaugh had in place for several years, as outlined a little bit earlier this morning. He is with the Real Forge Consulting, LLC. He took the stand just a short time ago, probably about 20 minutes ago. He was sitting on the stand where he was talking about how he would distribute settlement money that would come in. Alex Murdaugh, a lawyer with PMPED, would win lawsuits. Settlement money would come in, and that money was supposed to go either to the law firm or to a structured settlement company like Forge LLC, Forge Consulting LLC, to be distributed. But as you heard in that testimony this morning, what prosecutors are alleging in many of these financial crimes is that those clients, they never received a penny. And in fact, all of
324, is that legit?
No, sir.
323, is that legit?
No, sir.
322, is that legit?
No, sir.
321, is that legit?
No, sir.
320, is that legit?
No, sir.
319, is that legit?
No, sir.
And that soundbite jumped the gun just a little bit, but again, just kind of setting up how that would work is that money that would be distributed in a settlement was supposed to go back to the law firm or potentially to a settlement distribution company, but instead Alex Murdaugh, it's alleged, was using that money and sending it off to a shell company that he called Forge. Not Forge Consulting LLC, but Forge. It was a Bank of America account that was Richard Alex Murdaugh, DBA Forge. And so all of this money, prosecutors allege it was close to $3 million in some ways. They tallied that up in a line-by-line accounting in court earlier this morning. Close to $3 million over 6 years that was diverted into Alex Murdaugh's accounts. And so the question is, will this all be included at some point as part of motive evidence? Again, prosecutors have alleged throughout all of this that it was mounting financial troubles that ultimately kind of caved in on Alex Murdaugh, especially leading up to June the 7th, 2021. The prosecutors allege pushed him over the edge to possibly commit these murders. And so that's the allegation there, and that's why they're discussing all of this. Whether or not it will be allowed in trial, still to be determined by Judge Newman. These hearings could play out, and as you heard in Nick's report, it could play out over the next several days, possibly even weeks. Again, there's a lot of different elements to this case, especially when you get into the financial crimes. There are many potential witnesses, a lot of people who are associated with this. And so if you call witness after witness after witness after witness, you get the idea this thing could take a while depending on how much is admitted. So that's the latest from here in Walterboro. Let's send it back to you, Judy and Dondi.
Greg, before we let you go, you have laid out nicely there how critical this testimony will be if, in fact, Judge Newman allows the jury to hear it. I heard when he dismissed them today, he asked them to come back at 11:30 tomorrow, a little bit later than they have been reporting. Any idea at this point as to when Judge Newman will make a decision about allowing or not allowing this evidence?
Judy, we're not necessarily getting a sense on when he will make a final and definitive ruling. It sounds like it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, but earlier on, Judge Newman was debating all of this and kind of weighing it out, wondering when they would call potential jury witnesses, people who would come in and testify specifically to the night of June the 7th, 2021, so that the jury could hear that testimony. But when it comes to some of these admissibility hearings, in terms of the rulings on that, the timeline isn't necessarily clear, Judy.
All right, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great insight, as always, from